Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. Now, let's turn back to the story of Emma and Liam. As Emma rushed out of the restaurant, she couldn't shake off the embarrassment. Her heart raced as she walked quickly down the street, hoping the ground would open up and swallow her whole. She had never been good at these things, these blind dates that people like Ginny insisted she try. Her phone buzzed again, another message from her well-meaning friend. "Hey, are you okay? I thought I saw you run out." Emma let out a small sigh, slipping her phone back into her bag without responding. She wasn't ready to talk about it yet. She didn't even want to think about it. The sting of humiliation was still fresh. But as she stepped onto the busy sidewalk, something inside her stopped her from walking away too quickly. Despite everything, there had been something in Liam's smile that made her feel seen. His eyes, the way he looked at her with a sense of curiosity, had made her feel like she wasn't just some awkward mess, but a real person. But no, it was just a mistake, and she couldn't let herself get carried away by something so silly. Still, that warmth lingered. Emma paused for a moment, taking a deep breath. She wasn't sure why, but she found herself wondering if she'd see Liam again. The next day, Emma found herself in a coffee shop, scrolling through job listings on her phone. Her fingers hovered over a few potential opportunities, but nothing felt right. She had been looking for a way out of her dead-end job for a while now, but the weight of her responsibilities, her unpaid rent, the bills piling up, always pulled her back into the routine of serving tables and barely scraping by. The dream of opening her own art studio seemed further and further away. She sipped her coffee, staring at the half-empty cup, lost in thought. The door to the coffee shop chimed, and a familiar voice interrupted her daydreaming. "Emma." She looked up, her heart skipping a beat. It was Liam. He stood there, looking a bit out of place in the casual coffee shop attire, a soft smile on his face. He seemed like he had been expecting to run into her. Emma's breath caught in her throat for a moment, and she quickly wiped her hands on her jeans, hoping her nervousness didn't show. "Liam," she said, standing up. "Hey, what are you doing here?" Liam chuckled, taking a step closer. "Funny, I was just about to ask you the same thing." He looked at her, his eyes still carrying that same genuine curiosity that had caught her off guard the night before. "I didn't expect to see you again." Emma gave a small smile, trying to mask her surprise. "I didn't expect to see you either," she said, laughing nervously. I just come here sometimes." Liam nodded, taking a seat across from her without waiting for an invitation. "I hope I'm not disturbing you," he said, his voice casual but still warm. "I just wanted to say about last night. I'm sorry if I made things awkward. I never meant to cause you any embarrassment." Emma blinked, taken aback by his sincerity. No. It was my fault. I was the one who sat at the wrong table. I wasn't even paying attention." "Well, I don't think it was the worst thing that could happen," Liam said with a soft smile. "In fact, I kind of enjoyed the conversation we had. It was refreshing to talk to someone so real." Emma felt her cheeks warm at the compliment. She wasn't sure how to respond, so she simply shrugged, trying to downplay the awkwardness. "Yeah, I guess I talk a lot when I'm nervous," she admitted. "Hey, no complaints here," Liam said, his eyes twinkling. "I like people who aren't afraid to speak their mind." For a moment, they both sat there in a comfortable silence, the weight of the previous night's awkwardness lifting between them. Emma wasn't sure why, but she felt at ease around him. It wasn't something she had expected, especially after such a clumsy start. Liam broke the silence. "I was wondering, would you like to get coffee again sometime? Maybe, with no mix-up this time." Emma hesitated for a moment, her mind still replaying her embarrassing exit from the restaurant. But something in Liam's demeanor made her feel like he wasn't judging her. He seemed genuinely interested in getting to know her, and for the first time in a long time, Emma felt a spark of hope. "Sure," she said, smiling shyly. "I'd like that." Liam smiled back, his eyes lighting up. "Great. I'll text you." As Liam left the coffee shop, Emma watched him walk out the door, her heart beating a little faster than it had a few minutes ago. She wasn't sure where this would go or if it would lead to anything, but something told her that, for the first time in a while, she wasn't alone in this crazy world. Maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something new. It had been a week since Emma and Liam had their awkward blind date mix-up, and things between them had started to feel natural. After their coffee shop meeting, they had met up a few more times, talking about everything and nothing. Emma found herself looking forward to their conversations. She never thought that a simple mistake would lead to this, but there was something about Liam that made her feel seen, not judged, and definitely not out of place. The evening was quiet as she walked into the gallery, a local space where she sometimes displayed her work. It was a small but cozy place, with minimalist designs and white walls that made the artwork pop. She had always dreamed of having her own art studio, but for now, the gallery was the closest thing she had to it. As she set down her sketchbook on the table, the gallery owner, a middle-aged woman named Ruth, walked over, offering Emma a warm smile. "You're early tonight, Emma," Ruth said, her voice soft and welcoming. "Everything okay?" Emma smiled, though there was a hint of uncertainty in her eyes. "Yeah, just a little distracted. I've been thinking a lot about some things." Ruth raised an eyebrow, knowing Emma well enough to understand that something was on her mind. "Do you want to talk about it?" Emma hesitated, glancing at the empty canvas in front of her. "I met someone," she said finally, her voice a bit tentative. Ruth's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "A new guy?" Emma nodded, her smile growing a little wider. "His name is Liam. We met under awkward circumstances, but it's been good. Really good." "Awkward?" Ruth chuckled. "Well, that sounds like you. But if he's making you smile, that's all that matters." Emma laughed, feeling the warmth of Ruth's encouragement. "Yeah, it's just, we're still getting to know each other. I don't want to get my hopes up too much. I'm not used to things going smoothly." Ruth gave her a reassuring look. "Just take it one step at a time. Let it be what it is." Emma nodded, but deep down, she felt the familiar pull of doubt. She hadn't really let anyone close in a long time. Not since her last relationship ended. Not after the struggles of trying to make ends meet. She had built walls around herself, keeping her emotions at arm's length. But with Liam, things felt different. He didn't expect anything from her, and that was something she wasn't used to. As she walked around the gallery, checking on the pieces she had displayed, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Liam. "Hey, I hope I'm not interrupting. Would you like to grab dinner tonight? I've been thinking about you." Her heart skipped a beat. It had been a few days since they'd last seen each other, and she had been wondering when he would reach out. The idea of dinner, just the two of them, made her nervous and excited at the same time. She quickly typed back, "I'd love to." "What time?" Liam responded almost immediately. "How about 7? I'll pick you up." Emma felt a smile spread across her face as she put the phone down. She had to admit, she was looking forward to this. At 7 p.m., as promised, Liam's sleek black car pulled up outside her apartment building. He stepped out, dressed casually, but with that signature air of confidence she had grown used to. He smiled when he saw her, and for a moment, Emma felt the nerves flutter in her stomach. "Hey, you look amazing," Liam said, his voice warm and genuine. "Thank you," Emma replied, feeling a bit shy. "You look great too." Liam opened the car door for her, and they drove to a small Italian restaurant on the outskirts of town. The place was quiet, with candlelight flickering on each table and the sound of soft music playing in the background. It felt intimate, cozy, and for the first time in a while, Emma didn't feel out of place. Over dinner, they talked about everything. Their childhoods, their dreams, their favorite movies, even the things they wished they could change about their lives. It was easy to talk to Liam, even easier than she had expected. She felt like she could just be herself around him, without any pretense. As they finished their meal, Liam leaned back in his chair, looking at her with a thoughtful expression. "I'm glad we're doing this," he said softly. "I'm really enjoying getting to know you, Emma." Emma's heart fluttered at the sincerity in his voice. She had been trying so hard not to get too attached, to keep things casual. But she couldn't deny the connection they had. There was something about Liam that made her want to take a leap of faith. "Me too," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm glad we met, even if it was under strange circumstances." Liam smiled, reaching across the table to take her hand. Sometimes the best things in life come from the strangest places. Emma looked down at their joined hands, a sense of warmth spreading through her. Maybe this was the start of something real. Maybe this was her chance to take a risk for once, to trust that things could be different this time. As they left the restaurant and walked out into the cool night air, Emma couldn't help but feel like she was stepping into a new chapter. A chapter she had never expected, but one that felt like it could finally be her turn for something good. It had been a few weeks since Emma and Liam started spending more time together, and with each passing day, Emma found herself letting down the walls she had carefully built around her heart. Their dates were always easy, natural, and filled with genuine conversation. They shared stories about their pasts, their goals, and even the things they feared the most. Liam's company felt comfortable in a way she had never experienced before, and for the first time in a long while, Emma started to believe that maybe, just maybe, she deserved something good in her life. One evening, after they had spent the day at a local art exhibit together, Liam drove Emma back to her apartment. As the car rolled to a stop in front of her building, he turned off the engine and looked over at her. There was something in his eyes, something she couldn't quite place. "Emma," he started, his voice softer than usual. "There's something I've been meaning to talk to you about." Emma looked at him curiously. "What's up?" Liam hesitated for a moment, glancing down at his hands before looking back at her. "I know we've only been seeing each other for a little while, but I've been thinking a lot about us. About you." Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Liam, you don't have to." "No, I do," Liam interrupted gently. "I just want to be honest with you. I don't want to rush anything, but I feel like we have something real here. I've been in relationships before, but none of them felt like this." Emma was taken aback by his words. She wasn't used to hearing such vulnerability from anyone, especially not from someone like Liam. He was always so confident, so put together. It was a side of him she hadn't seen until now. "I've been thinking the same thing," Emma admitted, her voice soft. "I didn't expect to feel this way. But with you, I feel like I'm not just the girl who waits tables anymore." Liam smiled, reaching over to take her hand. "You're not just that. You're so much more than that, Emma." The sincerity in his voice made her chest tighten. For so long, she had been holding herself back from getting close to anyone, afraid of being hurt, afraid of letting someone see the real her. But Liam, he made her feel safe. He made her feel like she didn't have to pretend. Emma squeezed his hand gently, feeling the warmth of his touch spread through her. "I never thought I'd find someone who sees me like this," she whispered. Liam leaned in slightly, his eyes never leaving hers. "I see you, Emma. All of you." The air between them shifted, and for a moment, everything else faded away. The sound of the city, the noise, the uncertainty, they all seemed so distant. It was just the two of them, in that small car, sharing a moment that felt more intimate than anything they had shared before. "I'm glad we met," Emma said, her voice thick with emotion. "I don't know what the future holds, but I know I'm happy right now. With you." Liam smiled softly, his eyes softening. "Me too. I'm glad we met, Emma." They sat in the car for a few more moments, neither of them wanting to be the first to break the silence. Finally, Emma opened the door and stepped out, feeling the cool night air brush against her skin. "I'll text you when I get inside," she said, giving him a small smile. "Take care," Liam said, his voice tender. "Good night, Emma." "Good night, Liam," she replied, closing the door behind her. As Emma walked up the stairs to her apartment, she couldn't help but feel a sense of calm wash over her. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't afraid of what was coming next. She didn't know what the future would look like, but with Liam by her side, she felt like maybe it was worth taking that chance. Inside her apartment, Emma sat down on the couch, her heart still fluttering from the evening. She pulled out her phone and typed a quick message to Liam, a simple but honest note that said, "I'm really glad we met. I can't wait to see where this goes." As she hit send, Emma felt a sense of peace settle over her. She was ready to take that next step. Whatever came next, she would face it with an open heart. And for the first time in a long time, that felt like enough. It had been a few weeks since Emma and Liam started seeing each other more seriously. Each moment spent together felt like a step forward, a chance to explore something deeper. The awkwardness from their first meeting had long faded, replaced by a sense of comfort and warmth that Emma wasn't used to, but was starting to crave. It was Saturday afternoon, and Emma was at the small art gallery, preparing for her first solo exhibition. The walls were lined with her artwork, the sketches and paintings she had poured her heart into for years. She had dreamed of this moment for as long as she could remember, and now, it was finally happening. Liam had promised to come to the opening. He had been supportive of her work from the start, always encouraging her to pursue her dreams. It was one of the things Emma admired most about him, his genuine belief in her, in what she was capable of. As the guests began to trickle in, Emma felt a mixture of excitement and nerves. She had spent so long hiding her art from the world, unsure of how it would be received, but today felt different. Today she was proud. The gallery was buzzing with conversation, the soft hum of people admiring the pieces. Emma stood by the door, greeting guests and showing them around, but her eyes kept darting toward the entrance, waiting for Liam to arrive. She didn't know why she was so anxious. It wasn't like she had anything to prove to him, but somehow, this moment felt more significant because he was here. And then, just as she had almost convinced herself he wasn't going to show up, the door opened. Liam walked in, looking just as handsome as ever. He was wearing a dark jacket and a soft smile, and his eyes found hers across the room. For a brief moment, everything else faded away. It was like the world around them disappeared, and it was just the two of them in that small space, surrounded by her artwork. Emma's heart fluttered as he made his way toward her. "Hey," he said softly, his voice carrying that familiar warmth. "This place looks amazing. Your work, it's incredible, Emma." A wave of relief washed over her. "Thanks, Liam," she replied, smiling brightly. "I'm glad you could make it." Liam took her hand gently, his thumb brushing over her knuckles. "There's no way I'd miss this," he said, his voice steady and sincere. "I'm really proud of you. You've worked so hard for this." Emma felt a lump form in her throat. Hearing those words from him meant more than she could put into words. She had spent so long doubting herself, hiding away her dreams, afraid of rejection. But Liam had always been there, believing in her even when she didn't. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said quietly. "You've always been there for me, encouraging me to keep going." Liam's smile softened. "You're the one who did all the work, Emma. I just helped you see what you were capable of." As they walked through the gallery together, Emma introduced him to her friends and fellow artists, and Liam was charming as ever, his easy confidence making everyone around him feel comfortable. Emma was grateful for how natural he made everything feel. It was like he fit right into her world, even though he came from a completely different background. The night went on, and Emma felt a sense of accomplishment that she had never felt before. She had put herself out there, shared her art with the world, and it was being appreciated. She had made it to this moment, and she didn't feel like the same girl who had walked into that restaurant a few weeks ago, embarrassed and unsure of herself. She had grown, in more ways than one. As the evening began to wind down, the last few guests left, and the gallery quieted. Liam turned to Emma, a soft smile still on his face. "So how does it feel? Your first exhibition, all your hard work paying off?" Emma took a deep breath, looking around at the empty gallery, the walls now filled with the echo of her success. "It feels incredible," she said, "but it also feels like it's just the beginning." Liam nodded, his gaze steady on her. "I think you're right. This is just the start of something big for you, Emma." He paused for a moment, taking her hand again, his thumb brushing over her skin in that familiar, soothing gesture. "I'm so proud of you," he said, his voice soft but full of conviction. Emma looked up at him, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you for believing in me. You've made me see that I can do anything if I just keep trying." Liam leaned in slightly, his lips brushing her cheek in a tender kiss. "You've always been capable of so much more than you realized," he whispered. "I'm just glad I could be here to see it." As they stood there, surrounded by her art, Emma realized that everything she had worked for, all the late nights and the doubts, had led her to this moment. And with Liam by her side, she knew that whatever came next, she would face it with confidence and the belief that she could achieve anything. For the first time in a long time, Emma felt at peace with herself and excited for the future. It had been a month since Emma's first art exhibit, and things between her and Liam were moving forward in ways she hadn't expected. She had always told herself that she didn't need anyone to validate her, but somehow, Liam had become more than just a support system. He had become someone she looked forward to seeing every day, someone she trusted. Their relationship had evolved from friendship to something deeper, but Emma was still trying to navigate how she felt. She wasn't used to letting people in, especially someone like Liam. One evening, Liam invited her to a small gathering at his apartment. It wasn't anything fancy, just a few close friends and colleagues. but the idea of stepping into his world made Emma nervous. She had always felt out of place in these kinds of settings, surrounded by people who seemed to have it all together. But Liam had reassured her that it would be casual, just a chance to relax and get to know the people he worked with. As she arrived at his building, Emma felt a flutter in her stomach. She adjusted her dress nervously, wishing she could somehow feel as confident as Liam did in social situations. She walked into the building, the security guard nodding as she made her way to the elevator. The ride up felt longer than it actually was, and when the doors opened, she was greeted by a sleek, modern apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the city's skyline. Liam was already there, standing by the bar, a glass of wine in hand, and a warm smile on his face. "Hey, you made it," Liam said, his voice full of energy. "I'm so glad you're here." Emma smiled, feeling a sense of comfort in his presence. "Thanks for inviting me," she said, trying to keep her nerves in check. "This place is incredible." Liam chuckled. "It's a bit too fancy for me, to be honest, but it works for what I need." He handed her a glass of wine, and they both walked into the living room, where a few of Liam's colleagues were already chatting. The evening went by surprisingly fast. Emma found herself engaging in conversation with a few of Liam's friends, most of whom were kind and down-to-earth, though she still felt a little out of place among them. Liam, however, was always nearby, checking in on her, making sure she was comfortable. There was a moment when he pulled her aside, away from the chatter of the room. "Are you okay?" Liam asked, his expression soft. "You seem a little quiet tonight." Emma looked at him, her heart skipping a beat. She had never been good at pretending, and with Liam, she didn't feel the need to. "I'm just not used to being in a room full of people like this," she admitted. "It's not that I don't like them, but it's a lot for me." Liam nodded, understanding. "I get it. You don't have to worry about anything. Just be yourself. That's all I care about." Emma smiled, grateful for his reassurance. "Thanks. I'll try." They spent the rest of the evening talking more and laughing, and by the time the party started to wind down, Emma was surprised at how much fun she had. The discomfort she had initially felt had faded, replaced with a growing sense of ease. She realized that it wasn't about fitting into a certain mold or impressing anyone. It was about being real, and Liam had made her feel like she didn't need to pretend. As they left the party together, Liam put his arm around her shoulders, pulling her close. "You did great tonight," he said softly. "I'm proud of you for coming." Emma looked up at him, a smile tugging at her lips. "Thanks for being patient with me," she replied, her voice quieter now. "I know I can be a little introverted sometimes." "You don't have to change who you are, Emma," Liam said, his tone sincere. "I like you just the way you are." They reached her apartment building, and Emma turned to face him. "I had a really good time tonight. I'm glad I came." "I'm glad too," Liam said with a smile. "I always enjoy spending time with you." As she walked into her apartment, Emma felt a warmth spread through her. She wasn't sure what the future held, but she knew that with Liam by her side, she was starting to feel like she could take on anything. For the first time in a long time, she was allowing herself to imagine a future where she wasn't alone, where the love and support she had always dreamed of were right there, within reach. That night, as she lay in bed, she couldn't help but think about how much had changed in such a short amount of time. She had gone from a woman who doubted everything she did to someone who was starting to believe in herself, and in the future she could build with someone who believed in her too. She closed her eyes with a soft smile, ready for whatever came next. It had been a few days since the party, and Emma found herself reflecting on everything that had happened between her and Liam. The more time they spent together, the more she realized how much he had changed her life. She no longer felt like the person who walked into that restaurant months ago, unsure and embarrassed. Now, with Liam by her side, she felt more confident, more open to the possibilities life had to offer. But as much as Emma had grown, there was still one thing she couldn't shake off: the fear of being hurt. She had been so careful for so long, keeping people at arm's length, afraid to let them in completely. But with Liam, everything felt different. One evening, after a quiet dinner together, Liam took her to his penthouse for the first time. The building was sleek and modern, with large windows that overlooked the city below. As they entered, Emma couldn't help but feel a little out of place. Liam's world was so different from hers, but it didn't matter. She had spent enough time with him to know that he wasn't the type to judge her for where she came from. He never made her feel like she was anything less than enough. I hope you don't mind coming up here, Liam said as they stepped into the living room. I just wanted to show you where I live, where I've been spending most of my time. Emma smiled softly, looking around the spacious apartment. It's beautiful, Liam, she said, her voice filled with awe. It's so different from what I expected. Liam chuckled, running a hand through his hair. Yeah, it's a bit much, I know, but I guess I've gotten used to it. It's not home, though. Emma looked at him, puzzled. What do you mean? Liam took a deep breath, sitting down on the couch. I don't know. I've been so focused on work, on building this empire, that I've forgotten what it's like to just live. To have a home, a place where you feel grounded. Sometimes, I feel like I'm just passing through life, moving from one project to the next. Emma sat down beside him, her heart aching for him. She could see the exhaustion in his eyes, the weight of everything he carried. Liam, I get it, she said softly. I felt like that too. Like I'm just surviving, not really living. But maybe that's why we have each other. Liam looked at her, his eyes softening. You're right. Maybe that's what I've been missing all along. Someone who makes me feel like I'm not alone in all of this. Emma reached out and took his hand, the connection between them stronger than ever. I'm here, Liam. I'm here with you, no matter what. Liam squeezed her hand gently, his voice thick with emotion. I don't think I've ever really let anyone in like this before, he admitted. But with you, it feels different. Like maybe I can finally stop running from my feelings, stop hiding from what I want. Emma smiled, feeling her own heart swell with affection. You don't have to hide from me, Liam. You never have to hide. For the rest of the evening, they talked about their hopes, their dreams, and the things that had held them back. They shared more than they ever had before, and Emma felt a sense of relief wash over her. She had been afraid of opening up, afraid of what it would mean to let someone in completely. But now, with Liam beside her, she realized that being vulnerable wasn't a weakness, it was a strength. As they sat there, surrounded by the quiet hum of the city below, Emma knew that this was the beginning of something real. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in a long time, she was ready to face it head-on, with Liam by her side. And maybe, just maybe, this time, she wouldn't have to do it alone. The weeks went by quickly, and Emma found herself in a comfortable routine with Liam. Their bond had deepened, and their connection felt undeniable. Every day, they shared new moments of laughter, honesty, and quiet understanding. Emma had stopped questioning herself so much. She no longer feared the unknown or the idea of getting hurt. Being with Liam had started to feel like the most natural thing in the world. However, just when things seemed to be falling perfectly into place, Emma was confronted by a reality she hadn't expected. It was a Sunday afternoon, and Emma was getting ready for a casual dinner at Liam's apartment. She had a few things to finish up at work, so she texted him that she'd be a little late. The message came from a familiar number, Jenny, her best friend. It had been a while since they'd caught up, so Emma eagerly opened the message. Emma, I need to talk to you. It's about Liam. Her heart skipped a beat. The words lingered in her mind, heavy and urgent. She immediately texted Jenny back, asking what was going on. A few moments later, Jenny responded, He's hiding something. I don't want you to get hurt. Emma felt a wave of confusion and concern wash over her. What could Liam be hiding? He had always been so open with her. She couldn't believe that anything could be wrong. Jenny had always been protective of her, but this felt different. There was a sharpness in her words that Emma couldn't ignore. Shaken, Emma arrived at Liam's apartment, but her mind was clouded with doubt. She tried to shake it off as she rang the doorbell, hoping that it was just a misunderstanding. When Liam opened the door, his smile seemed genuine, but something about his eyes told Emma he knew something was wrong. Hey, you okay? Liam asked, his voice soft as he reached for her hand. I don't know, Emma replied, trying to keep her voice steady. I got a message from Jenny, and she said that you're hiding something from me. Liam's expression faltered for a brief second, and Emma caught it. He quickly composed himself, his smile returning, but it didn't reach his eyes. What did she say? She said that you're hiding something, that you might hurt me. Emma's voice trembled as she spoke, the weight of her words heavy in the room. Liam sighed, his hand dropping from hers as he stepped back. Emma, I didn't want you to find out this way. Find out what? Emma asked, her heart racing. What aren't you telling me? Liam looked at her, his face serious now. There's something about my past, something I've kept from everyone, including you. Emma felt a pang of fear in her chest. What is it? Liam took a deep breath, running his hand through his hair. I was involved in some shady business deals a few years ago. Things got out of hand, and I had to make decisions I'm not proud of. I've tried to leave it all behind, but it's never really gone away. I didn't want to drag you into that world. You deserve better. Emma's mind raced. This wasn't the man she thought she knew. She had always admired Liam's strength, his ambition, and his kindness. But now, she was hearing about a side of him she couldn't reconcile with the person she had come to trust. I didn't want you to see that side of me, Liam continued, his voice quieter now. I care about you, Emma, more than I've cared about anyone in a long time. I was trying to protect you, but I should have told you sooner. Emma stood there, her chest tight as the weight of his words sank in. I don't know what to say. Liam stepped closer, his hand gently reaching for hers. I'm sorry for not being honest with you from the beginning. I should have trusted you enough to tell you the truth. For a moment, they stood in silence, the air thick with unspoken emotions. Emma's mind was a swirl of confusion, but deep down, she knew that what they had built was worth fighting for. She had to decide if she could accept Liam's past and the man he was now, or if it was too much to overcome. Liam's eyes were full of regret, but there was also a quiet plea for understanding. I'm not that person anymore, Emma. I promise you that. I've worked hard to make things right, but I can't change what's already happened. Emma swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. I need some time to think about all of this, Liam. He nodded, his gaze softening. I understand. Take all the time you need. I'll be here when you're ready. As Emma left his apartment that night, her heart felt heavy with the uncertainty of what lay ahead. She wasn't sure what the future held, but she knew that she couldn't ignore the way Liam made her feel, how much he had changed her life. The truth would hurt, but maybe it was the only way for them to move forward. And despite everything, she couldn't deny that she still cared about him. She just wasn't sure if love could really overcome the mistakes of the past. The next few days were a blur for Emma. She spent most of her time trying to process everything that Liam had confessed. His past, the mistakes he had made, weighed heavily on her heart. She had always believed in second chances, but this felt different. She didn't know if she could overlook the things he had done, even though he had changed. Part of her wanted to run, to protect herself from being hurt. But another part of her, the part that had fallen for him, couldn't let go so easily. She spent hours thinking about it, walking through the city, lost in her thoughts. The more she thought about Liam, the more she realized that people weren't defined by their pasts. Yes, his mistakes had hurt others, but he was trying to make things right. He had shown her a side of himself that no one else had ever seen. And that vulnerability, that willingness to be honest, was something Emma hadn't expected. But she still needed to be sure. Emma needed to know if she could trust him, if she could move forward with him and build something real despite the shadows of his past. It was a cold evening when she finally decided to call Liam. Her fingers trembled slightly as she dialed his number, the weight of the conversation ahead making her heart beat faster. After a few rings, he picked up. Emma, he said, his voice soft and tentative. I wasn't sure if you'd want to talk. I think we need to, she replied, her voice steady despite the nervousness she felt. Liam exhaled, the relief clear in his voice. I'll be right there. When he arrived at her apartment, there was a quiet tension between them. Emma could see the fear in his eyes, the vulnerability that he had shown her so many times before now mixed with the uncertainty of whether she could forgive him. Liam, Emma began, her voice calm. I've been thinking a lot about everything. About you, about us. Liam nodded, his eyes searching hers for any hint of what she might say next. I know you've changed, she continued, her words careful but honest. And I want to believe in that. I want to believe that the person I've come to know, the man who's been there for me, who's supported me, has left that past behind him. Liam's eyes softened, a flicker of hope shining in them. I have, Emma. I swear I've tried to make things right. I don't want to be that person anymore. I just want to be with you. Emma took a deep breath, feeling a wave of emotion rise within her. I don't want to be scared anymore, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. I don't want to keep running away from the possibility of something good. I want to trust you, Liam. Liam stepped forward, his hands gently reaching for hers. You can. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here, Emma, and I'll keep proving to you that I'm the person you deserve. They stood there for a moment, their hands intertwined, the weight of the past and future hanging in the air between them. Emma knew it wasn't going to be easy. There would be challenges ahead, moments of doubt and fear, but for the first time in a long time, she felt ready to face them. She wasn't alone anymore. "I believe you," Emma finally said, her voice steady now. "And I want to try. I want to see where this goes." A smile spread across Liam's face, and for the first time, Emma saw the man who had been hiding behind the walls of his past, vulnerable, but full of hope. He pulled her into a gentle embrace, holding her like he never wanted to let go. "I'm so lucky to have you, Emma," Liam whispered into her hair. "I promise you won't regret this." And in that moment, Emma realized that love wasn't about perfection. It was about growth, about learning to forgive and trust again. Together, they would face whatever came next, side by side. It wasn't the fairy tale ending she had once imagined, but it was real, and that was all she needed.